Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm gonna give you guys time to jump into the conversation. We have a good one today. This is going to be a real interesting discussion. As I let you guys kind of come in into the live, I want to first of all, obviously remind you guys to hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button, and all that good stuff. And also, I want to tell you guys about the person I'm going to be hanging out with today. Her name is Tiara KJ Williams. Tiara also goes by that moniker, Miss Black Hollywood. She's super cool, super smart, super awesome. And I want to say what's up to my homegirl. How you doing today, T? Uh-oh, you're muted.
Oh.
All right, now I've unmuted you. Go ahead. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
hey, thank you for having me. Yeah, keep going with the supers. I'm super cool. I'm super fresh. I'm super tight. I'm super. I
well,
love
you
it. That's
well
a
you're
great intro, boys.
well you're a sister, so that makes you a super woman too, right? So we know that. We know about black girl magic and black women superpowers and all that, and I know you got them all. Um, yeah, so you and I were talking, and we were actually going to talk about something else. We've been friends for a long time, and we were going to just actually talk about some stuff going on with Dr. Phil and the fake black girl that he put on the air. I don't know if you saw that, the little girl who swore up and down she hated all black people, and it turned out that that wasn't true. Which we can get to that later, but I thought there was something more interesting that came to my attention. Did you see that Kanye West, out of the blue, just out of the blue, now he's suddenly like, I ain't fucking with Donald Trump no more. Like he totally just like on Twitter is now like, I think he said, what did he say? I think he said, I no longer want to be associated with Brexit and the Trump campaign. I've been used to spread messages. So obviously the first reaction was like, no duh, motherfucker. Like of course they were using you. But did you see that? What did you think when you saw it?
Well, it's so funny that I had the same response that you did, but I was just thinking like some so I saw an article not too long ago of Kim Kardashian saying that Kanye changes his mind all the time. Like he literally can be thinking something and then the next moment she just gives it a minute and he changes his mind. So immediately I just thought that he's bipolar. Of course he changed his mind. Not that bipolar people change their mind all the time. I'm not no shade to, but he has a condition. So it just goes along with the condition that he has, that he just has these moments where he's impulsive and he just is doing things just because he feels like it.
Which makes him a great associate of Donald Trump, right? Because we know Trump got his issues. So
Exactly.
so maybe it's like, like I'm bipolar, you're bipolar, we could be bipolar together, and then go out here and have voices that literally are changing the political landscape of this planet, because that's a good thing. That's a good stable thing to do in a world with nuclear weapons, right? Is
Right.
that what we're agreeing on? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, when I heard that Kanye suddenly out of the blue, is shifting his whole position, I couldn't believe it. I said, no, maybe it's a hoax. Maybe they made it up. But then I Googled it and I saw USA Today was reporting this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, did you see that? I sent you. I think I sent you the link.
Yeah.
Um, and so basically what's being said here by USA Today is that Ye's now tweeting, this stuff like this completely like in the polar opposite of what he's been talking about. He says, my eyes are now wide open and I now realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in. I'm distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative. What are your thoughts on that?
We've been telling him to do that this whole time. I feel like, when Kanye first came out and he was at the White House, he had his meeting with Trump and Jim Brown. I felt like even though I didn't completely disagree with what Kanye West had to say, I don't think he has the EQ to really represent the Black community. I mean, yeah, I feel you. I love the things that he was saying. I love what he was standing for in terms of, I don't think he's the greatest at communicating. Again, that also goes with his condition because his mind is moving a lot faster than he's able to actually communicate. And I'm just because I
Mhm.
actually have a really close family member who's bipolar, so I understand all the signs. Like he just can't quite get it out. So I don't think that he just has it to represent us in that way. And I felt like he shouldn't. He should just be creative. That's a space where you're allowed to be impulsive. You can be far as in the moon or in the sky and a star in the stars in the sky as you want to be without being judged. So he should stay there with the creatives because that's who he is. He doesn't belong in the political realm. Let's let somebody else do that.
Well, everybody, I'm talking to Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood, and I think Tiara is a perfect person to talk about this topic. Kanye West, just today, out of the blue, out of nowhere, decides, oh, I'm done with politics. I'm done with Donald Trump because I've been used. And and I think that while you can certainly criticize him, or you can say what you want about about what he believed in, and all that good stuff. Like he has a right to be a Republican. He has a right to even support Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. But I think that, when you jump back and forth like that, when first you're going 100 miles an hour in one direction, then suddenly you're going 100 miles an hour in the other direction, it really speaks to your credibility as a human being. It really speaks to the fact that the next time you go hard for something, nobody's going to believe you, because you come off as immature, fickle, and maybe even a little crazy, like a little fucked up mentally. Like I don't know what, so you think that there was the mental illness that kind of drove this behavior? I mean, bipolar, what is that? That means one day you're one way, the next day you're a different way. So you think this is a reflection of bipolar behavior, or is it just somebody who's sort of almost like coming to age in terms of suddenly seeing the light, suddenly waking up? We talk about Black people who are woke. Is it that Kanye is just, now that he's woke, like Omarosa was suddenly woke? Like how do people even process this? What do you think?
So I do know that when you're dealing with the condition, and I'm no psychologist. Like I said, I just have somebody that's really close to me that struggles with this condition. You feel there's this intense feeling all the time. You feel everything. That's why he has these highs and lows where he just has to get things out all the time. If somebody says something, he just can't let it sit in his spirit, and he gotta confront Nick Cannon and all these people because he can't hold it in, literally can't hold it in. So if he wakes up one morning and he feels a certain way, he has to get that out. And so he just felt that way for a couple months, and he let us know how he felt. And then he woke up this morning and was like, nah, I don't feel that way no more. I'm not like and I think he means it on both ends. But I think that also contributes to, the condition. We all don't have that. We typically pick a side and we stick to that. But, with him, he literally can't help it.
I'm going to tell you, Tia, I kind of feel like, it really also speaks to the society we live in, and the unfortunate reality that, we sometimes give some people too much power. I think that there were smart people from the jump who were saying, why is it that the Black community we tend to have the most ignorant motherfuckers on the earth speaking on behalf of the whole community? And this isn't just true during the Trump presidency. This was true during the Obama presidency. A lot of the people that were going to the White House talking to the president about important policies affecting millions of people were people who were clearly unqualified to do that job.
Yeah.
Clearly unqualified. You had you would have like celebrities sitting, some singer sitting next to Al Sharpton talking to the president about Black unemployment, when none of these people has ever gotten a degree in economics. None of these people has ever run a business. None of these people has ever created a job. None of these people knows anything about economics, economic policy, employment policy, none of that. And you're in the same city with Dr. Julianne Malveaux with a PhD in economics from MIT.
Yeah.
You're in the same city with Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote the book, the Bible on Black economics. And you don't call those people. You don't pick the phone up and call them. You call in like 2 Chainz. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I mean, what do we think is going to happen when we have people, speaking on behalf of the community who just have a big voice as celebrities, but don't understand what's going on? You're in Hollywood, and you're kind of around a lot of the people that do this kind of thing. why do you think, how do you feel ethically? I mean, do you think that there should be an ethical boundary for celebrities, actors, actresses, rappers, that are sort of called by the media to talk about things that they're not qualified to talk about?
Absolutely. I definitely feel like they should just stick to their creative spaces. Now, if you are passionate about a topic and you are versed in a way, maybe you went to school. I know, 2 Chainz went to school, and David Banner went to school, and there's different people that are smart, but like you said, not really versed in a way that can bring actual change. And so what what maybe we should do on this side, on the entertainment side, is bring in those people that can assist us and maybe like use our celebrity as an influence, not us like me, but I'm saying us as a community of Hollywood, but just using that celebrity and maybe partnering with some of those other people in our communities. But I don't think we are qualified at all to speak on behalf of most of the things. When I see people in the White House or anywhere else, on television, on CNN, on any of the platforms, that they could really speak out in a way that would be productive. Outside of David Banner, I don't really know if I really like to see them. You know what I mean? Like, I remember somebody, my designer, it was a rapper that mumble raps, and he was on CNN talking about something. And I was like, oh, Jesus, maybe Trinidad James. I don't know. It was just somebody that just it wasn't an appropriate thing for him to be on television. So to answer your question, no, I feel like we should stay in the studio or at the networks and just mind our business. And when it comes to, we can do like a Harry Belafonte / Martin Luther King partnership. You pay for it and you kind of push somebody else on the platform that can get the job done. You know what I'm saying, boys?
Yeah, I think so. And I'll tell you, it's sort of like, I like the fact that you brought up 2 Chainz and David Banner, right? In both cases, you have 2 Black men who are educated enough to have a thoughtful perspective on important issues. Mm-hmm. But in the case, excuse me, of 2 Chainz, you have an intelligent man who acts like an ignorant man so he can sell records. Mm-hmm. That to me does not make him qualified to really address important issues, because I don't think he represents himself well. He doesn't represent Black men well. He does not represent his family well. When you're promoting things to Black people that are going to cause them to die an early death, behavior patterns are going to put them in prison, on drugs, whatever, then you've shown that you don't have the ethical fiber to represent 40 million people. David Banner, on the other hand, is an educated man who is not scared of being smart in public. Nope. He's not afraid to, be honestly intelligent and to say, I'm an intelligent Black man and I'm proud of that. And so, as you mentioned, a David Banner speaking on these important issues, it makes you feel better, because you know that he's doing it for the right reasons. He's not doing it for a photo op. He's not doing it to sell a record. Yep. He's not doing it because it's the latest fad and the latest trend. Yep. He's doing it because he has a purpose that goes beyond, all I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. Yep. If you recall, remember that was one of 2 Chainz' songs. Yep. Like literally, he said, all I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. So if your whole life is all about big booty hoes, then stick with big booty hoes. Like, it shouldn't be big booty hoes and transformative politics. It should just be big booty hoes, liquor, weed, guns, Molly, X, whatever the fuck, dumb Negroes are doing to kill themselves. Yeah. You stay over there. Yeah. Just stay over there, right? Yeah. Because we need the entertainers. If you're talking about entertainers that have the right to speak, we need the entertainers that are deeply committed to truly, critically important, transformative ideas that are going to be productive for Black people. And here's the thing about Kanye. Here's what I really want people to consider about Kanye. And by the way, I'm talking to Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood, and we're talking about Kanye West suddenly out of the blue deciding that he's not rolling with Donald Trump anymore after he's been caping for Trump for months. Here's the thing about Kanye. This is probably going to throw people off and upset them, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is what I believe. Mm-hmm. Kanye had a right to say everything he said. Mm-hmm. Kanye could literally be a Republican who backs Donald Trump, mm-hmm. and be an important participant in important debates about Black freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
I know good Black people that I love, that I respect, who's voted for Donald Trump. I do not participate in this climate where you gonna unfriend somebody because of who they voted for, or I ain't fucking with you no more because of that. I don't do that. I don't abandon other Black people because they chose to be a Republican or chose to be a Democrat.
Right.
So I think that part of the conversation was allowed to be had. Kanye was allowed to be who he was, and Kanye, whether people want to admit it or not, was putting pressure on the Democratic Party to deliver for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, well, damn, like we have to step our game up now, because now Black people, oh my God, they're realizing they have a choice. They don't have to serve us and massage our balls every morning. Like we actually have to give them something in exchange for the ball massage. Like they've been doing it before. They would massage our balls for free. Now we actually have to compensate them, right? I think that's okay. Yeah. That's good cop, bad cop. Malcolm Martin, yeah. It's the reason Martin Luther King was able to advance his agenda was because white people were scared of the Black Panthers. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, we'll go support him because we don't want to mess with them, right? So I think Kanye could have been an important part of that. But when you waffle like that, mm-hmm. when it's like, 1 minute it's like, Trump is my boy, and you're going to the White House, rambling on and on and on about, this and this and this, and it's like, and then suddenly it's like, I want to distance myself because I feel like I was being used to spread a message. Of course you were being used. That's mm-hmm. what politicians do. Like were you so naive that you thought you could go into the cutthroat, dirty arena of American politics and not be fucking used? Right. Don't you understand that the Republicans will use you and then chew you up and spit you out? The Democrats will use you, chew you up and spit you out. There's a whole gang of Negroes I saw on BET the other day, all being used by the Democratic Party to get Black people to put them back in office. And my thing is like, look, if you're being used, at least show me that you're intelligent enough to know that you're being used, mm-hmm. and then show me where you're using them. Mm-hmm. If you're using them and they're using you, then that can be an equal exchange where everybody wins. Like, so if Kanye is saying to Trump, like, look, I know you're going to use me and use my name and use my swag to get Black people to support you, then fine. But I need to use you. We back in Chicago, we have a joblessness problem. We have a violence problem. Yeah. Brothers out here in the street struggling. You get me that, that $1 billion grant to build businesses in Chicago so I can go and deliver for these people. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even be mad at him. I'd say, good for you, Kanye. Good for you. You got $1 billion out of these politicians, and we can't get nothing out of the Democratic Party. So if that had been the deal, I would have understood. But this idea like, I didn't know I was being used and I was just an innocent victim who was being manipulated, that tells me that you're clearly too immature to be part of politics. You're too uninformed. You're too mentally unstable to be a part of any of this. So you have killed your credibility for a very long time. Yeah. Kiara, what do you say to that?
I mean, I agree. I think that goes back to what I said in the beginning, that I felt like even though he might have the IQ, because I think that Kanye, I know the stock that he's come from. I've met his mother before she passed, his lovely mother, Dr. West. I met her before she passed, and she was smart. She was amazing. She was genius, and she pushed that onto her son. So I feel like he has, intellectually, he's there. Like the emotional, but the emotional, the EQ is not there. So I agree with you. I also wanted to add that at this point, I think that Kanye is most vulnerable. Like, he's just having issues. I think when he was talking to Trump, he said that something about he felt like he was a father figure to him. There's other things that he's not sticking to the script. It's like he's looking for other things. He's lost Jay-Z. Jay-Z's not his daddy, his brother anymore. So now he's looking for that. He's looking to fill that void. And I think all of his friends, or the people that he thought was his friends, is distancing themselves from him. So he's looking for something. He's looking for mama. He's having a hard time right now. So he's just not in a space where he can get out and represent us the way that I think he thought he would be able to. It's too overwhelming for him, on top of the condition. Now, maybe if this was Kanye West through the wire 10 years ago, maybe. because mentally he was just in a different place. His music reflected Black love, the Black community. He was dating a Black woman. It was all Black. He was with Rockefeller Records. You know, it was just the themes of his music were something that celebrated our culture. And then it got dark. And then there was drugs or whatever. You know, there's all of these addictions on top of, and then now there's bipolar. So he's just not in a space where he can represent me. He can't speak for me.
Yeah, I think that he you know, I think he kind of, it's kind of sad, you know, like you feel bad for him. You feel like his mother's got to be rolling over in her grave. Like she probably did that when he married Kim Kardashian, but I ain't here to talk about nobody's wife.
You ain't heard from me.
Right. I mean, you know, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you do feel you feel bad for the guy, and maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's another side of it that he'll come out with later. But let me tell everybody like kind of what the details are as far as this article. By the way, if you're on YouTube, please take 1 second. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button real quick for us. If you're on Facebook, please hit the like button, share button, get the notifications. Also, if you want to follow the Intellectual Chocolate Podcast, where we kill it every day, it's very, very good. Make sure that you subscribe at drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. Or you can also get text alerts sent out to you when we go live or when something goes down by texting my name, text Boyce to 31996. Just text my name, Boyce, to 31996. Now, here's what USA Today says. Okay, so Tierra KJ Williams, that's who I'm talking to, aka Miss Black Hollywood, also founder of The Real Network. In USA Today, it says Kanye West is done with politics and his bromance with Donald Trump may be over. The controversial rapper, who has become one of Trump's highest profile celebrity endorsers or supporters, took to Twitter Tuesday to say he has become a political pawn. Quote, my eyes are now wide open and now realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in, West 41 tweeted. He continued, I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative. Okay, so this is when he says, you know, I'm done with it. I'm backing off of this. I'm out of here. He didn't say, you know, I'm not messing with Trump no more. He didn't say I'm the new Omarosa. He betrayed me. But there is that insinuation, right? I'm being used to spread messages, but he didn't specifically link that to Trump, who he said was his boy. He just said, I'm being used to spread messages that I don't believe in. Now here's the thing, though. So and this is why I think it's important to note that he didn't mention Donald Trump explicitly, because what he also said is that, so it says here, in his latest revelation came after a series of tweets where the rapper sought to clear his name after the Blexit campaign revealed a line of shirts and hats that proudly tout designed by Kanye West. Blexit is short for Black Exit, urging Black voters to leave the Democratic Party. So he says, I introduced Candis Owens to the person who made the logo, and they didn't want their name on it, so she used mine. I never wanted any association with Blexit. So it's almost like, you know, like we're kind of insinuating that maybe the break is sort of broader, that it's him versus Trump. I realize Trump ain't my boy. He's really trying to screw me. But that may not be the case. It sounds to me like he has an issue with Candis Owens and them using his name to sell shirts and hats. Remember, that money's going somewhere, right? Somebody's putting their money in their pocket. Somebody's profiting. Anytime anybody uses Kanye's name, they're going to make money. So it almost seems like it could be like a business issue that he's having with Candis Owens, to the point where either they did not include him in on the deal financially, or maybe he truly just doesn't want to be associated with that whole Blexit thing. You know, what were your thoughts about that when you kind of read that whole interaction back and forth with him and Candis Owens?
You know, I hadn't even really thought about that. It definitely feels like just bad business, him not wanting to be, I think that he's receiving a lot of scrutiny from a lot of his friends. I mean, just publicly. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Obviously, he's used to being hated, but it could be a combination of all of that, a business being taken advantage of by the Republicans or feeling like that, but also losing from both sides. Like, I'm being used by this machine over here, which are the Republicans. And then all of my friends hate me. Like, you know, Diddy is like, man, call me. Like, what are you doing? You know, all the people in Hollywood that he's worked with for the last 20 years or in the music industry is like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? So I think he's just receiving hate from all around, from the people, from every party, from just everywhere. And I don't know if how much a person can take, really. So I'm thinking it's just like a, overall, it's all of those things.
Yeah, well, as I read more about this whole thing with Candis Owens, I guess I don't know. I guess she's trying to vouch for or try to get Omarosa's old position, sit next to Trump. And it's interesting, as I was sort of reading this, one of the things they mentioned was that Owens has kind of really been pimping his name. She appeared at this whole thing where they had this so-called young black leadership summit, where all black conservatives came and were taking selfies with Donald Trump and everything else, which a lot of people felt was pretty staged, not because there are no black conservatives in this country, and not because there are no black Trump supporters in this country, but because it almost seemed just very quick, very photo op-ish, very superficial, and a lot of our politics is driven by superficiality, because what people don't ask is, when you have a summit or a gathering of people and they're all taking pictures with the president, I think there should be a requirement, at least among us, where we go to that person on Twitter and say, okay, you sat with the president. What did you ask for? What's going to happen? What came out of this? What legislation is being pushed forward now that you had this meeting? What's going to come out of this other than a photo op? And really, truth be told, that question we should have started asking that question back when Obama was in office. Because I want people to go count how many times people visited the White House and nothing came of it. Nothing. I don't give a shit if you sit next to the president and took a picture with him. Who cares? If you ain't doing nothing for the people that you supposedly represent, then you're as guilty as the rest of them of creating nonsense. So this summit with Trump, it didn't produce anything. There was nothing. It wasn't like they announced, okay, we've got this $1 billion initiative to get black males out of prison. We want to earn credibility with the black community by going back and doing what the Democratic Party has never done, what Bill Clinton has never done. We're going to go back and reverse the effects of the mass incarceration Holocaust that was initiated by Bill Clinton, because many of those people are still in prison. Those people, they're really a lot like POWs. You got brothers that literally in the 1990s, 97, 98, got 40 life sentences for nonviolent possession of drugs, or maybe not 40, maybe 5 life sentences. It doesn't matter how many life sentences you have. If there's no parole, 1 life sentence is enough. Yeah. But they will give you 5 or 10 just in case you come back to life. We're gonna kill you in the afterlife, right? Like seriously, like that's really fucked up, right? When you give, I know somebody who has 14 life sentences. His name's Mario Lloyd. I went to visit him in prison, and this brother, nonviolent, never got caught with the dope. Doesn't have any murders or anything else on his record. As far as I know, his record was pretty clean. I don't think there's anything on there like that. And they gave him 14 life sentences with no parole. And his daughter was 2 when he went to prison. Her whole life, she has never, y'all talk about, immigrants and divided families. They've been divided since she was 2. She said, I'm traumatized because I can't go see my dad. I can go see him, but I have to go through prison walls to see him. I can't be with him as a free person, right? And this is real. This is not just one family. This is many, many thousands of families that the Democratic Party has never acknowledged. And you've seen Bill Clinton go out and say, well, I regret signing the crime bill in '94 that accelerated that process. That's fine that you regret it, but number one, you only regretted it for political expediency because you wanted your wife to get elected. Number 2, if you really regret something, like if you're really sorry for what you did, you go back and you fix it. You dedicate your life to fixing it. If I make a mistake, God forbid, and I run over somebody's child, in my car, and I go to the person's house and I'm crying and I'm on one knee and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I hope you can forgive me. I apologize. And they accept my apology. That's not enough for me to just say, I'm sorry that your child is dead. I'm going to have to do something to make up for that, right? I can't bring the child back to life, but I can spend my life maybe repaying them some way. Financial compensation is a good start, but then so reparations, Black people deserve reparations for mass incarceration. Let's be clear about that. But also, a lot of these people are still alive. So imagine if something happened to the person's child, and the child's still alive, and I can go help to save that child or whatever. And I say, I'm sorry that I made that mistake, but I'm not going to do anything to help you now. I don't care. I'm not going to fix the problem, right? Then I'm not genuine, right? So to me, the Democrats have never been genuine about mass incarceration because they've never gone back to fix the problem. These people that they sent to prison, the majority of them are not dead. They're still here. They're still alive. We think that they're dead because we like to act like prison inmates don't exist, but they are alive and they're sitting behind the walls and we're doing nothing about it because we're sitting around trying to find the coolest politician to support without actually thinking about what we're getting out of the deal. So going back to the Trump, Kanye thing and all that stuff, I think that if the Trump campaign came out and said, we are going to sign an executive order that will go back and review 50,000 cases of people that received unfair sentences, without long-term sentences with no parole for nonviolent drug possession, that would literally make me say, you know what, I'm gonna support you this time because I like that. I'm so happy we're doing that. But the problem is that we live in a world where everybody wants flash. Nobody pushes for substance. So nobody's having these conversations except for you and I sitting here talking to maybe 50,000, 100,000 people on the internet. But globally, mainstream media, nobody discusses this. Tiara, give me your thoughts. I didn't mean to talk so much. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just writing some notes because you were talking, you're making great points. I mean, I love it. I was just thinking about what you said about photo ops, right? When I looked at Kanye's in Trump's meeting, it was like there really wasn't anything that was going to come out of the meeting to me. And there was 20 cameras in the room and they were really trying to be serious. I don't know. Kanye West was talking about shoes and his Air Force Ones and showing, Trump, his new shoe designs. It was a mess. But I just feel like at this point, that was the agenda for them. This is big months for the both of them. Obviously, Trump is, the election is up. And then for Kanye, he is releasing an album on Black Friday. He still wants people to support him, So I felt like it wasn't as genuine to me. The entire effort wasn't as genuine. They can say what they want. Yeah, they got together and had a conversation. But to me, it wasn't really, I really didn't expect I couldn't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'll give Kanye credit for the fact that he did come back to Chicago and he donated $73,540 to the mayoral campaign of a sister named Amara Ania, who also is being backed by Chance the Rapper. And I love that. I just like that in terms of, the imagery of Black men stepping up to support a Black woman who could use their support. I would support her over a Rahm Emanuel any day of the week because Rahm Emanuel, who was Obama's buddy, screwed over Black people. I mean, he covered up the shooting of Laquan McDonald so he can get reelected. So he's lied to Black people in order to maintain political power. These are not the kinds of people that you want to support.
Right.
Don't support people that lie to you. You just don't, And so Kanye is not all bad when it comes to politics. I just think that, he kills his credibility by flip-flopping like this. And just as far as extra notes, it looks to me like a lot of this issue that he's having right now in terms of why he's changing his tune on Twitter, it looks like it's all about money and about Candis Owens using his name without his permission. They're selling these ugly ass, t-shirts and this apparel, and it's all a stupid game. It's a dumb game because here's the goal. Here's what's happening, right? Basically, you remember, I forgot which blaxploitation movie it was. The one with the pimps. What was it? The Mac, I think, where the pimps were fighting over the hoe, and the guy's like, "Yo, bitch chose me," right? Remember that?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
That's what it is. That's what the Democrats and the Republicans are doing. They're literally fighting over who can most manipulate the minds of Black people. If you listen to the rhetoric coming out of the mouths of people like Candis Owens, who I don't have any respect for, again, she's the new Omarosa. Go back years ago, I wrote an article on AOL Black Voices about Omarosa, and I let her have it. And this was before, this is like early in the Obama presidency, before she even got involved in politics. I just felt like she was a low quality human being way back then. And I never forget, AOL Black Voices took the article down because they were affiliated with BET, who had some sort of business relationship with Omarosa. So they didn't want me to they didn't let me put the article out on their platform, right? But Candis Owens to me is the new Omarosa. Scumbags, liars, dirtbags. That's what they both are, in my opinion. And if you listen to the rhetoric, you can see where they pretty much analyze how Black people think. And they're like, okay, we need to make this young Black conservative movement look trendy and cool. The apparel looks like it's designed by a rapper. Also, we need to take advantage of the discontent between the Black community and the Democratic Party. So literally, they're watching videos from people like me and taking talking points from people like me and using those to get Black people to either consider switching to the Republican Party or to have enough voter apathy that they don't support the Democrats, which will put the Republicans in power. I can't stop that train, but I don't like it, right? And I want to make it clear that it's morally bankrupt, while at the same time it could be strategically accurate. Now, the contrast to that is I'll have people that say, well, you see, Boyce, that's why you shouldn't tell Black people to think freely and to do what they want, because if they don't support the Democrats, then the Republicans will take over, and the Republicans take over, then the world's gonna come to an end. We're gonna be in slavery, y'all. We all gonna get shot on the street. Tomorrow every Black person's gonna lose their job. We all gonna die, right? That's my issue as well. I'm fighting on two fronts. I come back and say, no, let's just be clear. Let's make sure we're 100% abundantly clear on this fundamental fact. Whether a Democrat or Republican is in office, Black people are always going to be fucked. Black people have always been fucked, no matter who's in office. Black people were always behind in last place when it came to economics. We were always behind in last place when it came to education. We were always last and behind in last place when it came to the structure of our families. We were always last and behind in last place when it came to incarceration. Any measure of quality of life for any group of people, usually Black people are always last, no matter who's in office. So I've always said, look, I support freedom of thought for Black people. Do what the hell you want. They're going to do what's best for them. You do what's best for you. Let the chips fall where they may. But then at the same time, I believe the solutions for Black people will have to come from Black people. They will not come from either political party. Also, I will say this. If Black people have our act together, we sometimes underestimate our power as extraordinary people. We somehow, believe that even if we're doing our absolute best, pushing as hard as we can, educating ourselves at the highest levels, if white folks decide we ain't gonna get ahead, we ain't gonna get ahead. It reminds me when I was in college and I was studying really hard, studying much harder than my friends. I was studying 6-7 hours a day. I was studying 8 hours a day on Saturdays. All my friends were going to parties, step shows, also. So I was like, I'm trying to build a future for myself. I'm gonna bust my ass. So as a result, I had a very high grade point average. I was doing really well. And one of my friends said, wow, you make straight A's again. How did you do it? It seems easy for you. And I swear to God, I kid you not, a Black woman said to me that day, she said, I don't know why you study so hard. You only gonna go as far as white people want you to go. And I never forgot that, because that is a predominant mentality that we have as former slaves. That is our mindset, that we believe we can't move forward as a people, no matter how much our shit is together, no matter how hard we work. We believe that we can't move forward unless we get our good nigga sticker and white folks sign off on that shit. I don't believe that. I don't believe that when we are, educating our children to the best of their ability, when we are working hard to keep our families together, when we are saving and investing our money, when we are building institutions in our community, I do not believe that white people can decide how strong we're going to get. I don't believe that somehow Republicans getting in office is going to kill all of that overnight. And that's where the divide occurs. So I think at the end of the day, it's ultimately at the end of the day, it's a great big gigantic mind fuck. And the Republicans are part of it. The Democrats are part of it. And so personally, I've exited from both parties. I don't tell other people what to do, but that's what I chose to do. And so I've said a lot. I didn't mean to say so much. You know how I get. Tiara, give me you're in the entertainment industry. You've actually said that you think Trump and Kanye that they could have a reality show and make a lot of money. I actually agree with that. And they're both like really interesting characters. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they definitely could have a reality show. It would be, it would just reflect their personalities. I I think that it would be crazy. I think people would definitely watch it. They're watching it now, and we're talking about it every single day. You know, there's something that comes up that Kanye and Trump are a part of, and we can't get enough of it, right? So if they did a whole show, I would want to produce it. I tell you that, because they would, you know, they made me some money. But to go back to what you were saying, your whole thought about exiting, because I think that was a concern of mine, right? I was like, well, if we're not Democrat or Republican, there's really not an option for anything else. But then I started to think about the Asian community. I never see them running around worried about who's in office or who's not, because they fortified their community so well. Like they don't really do anything outside of their community. They go to their own restaurants, they go to their own stores, they, you know, they just patronize their own people. And so they don't have those worries. You know, I don't know. I just feel like if maybe we had a plan, you know, there was a plan in place before we decided to jump off this bus of like, I'm not going to be Democratic, or just a plan in place. Like, because then that's like when it comes up to voting, people are like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, what are you suggesting? Where do we go instead? So I guess I'm throwing that back to you. Where do we go? If we're not going to go to the polls, then what do we do, boys?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say I would never tell people not to go to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
I know definitely in the local elections, you know, in my community, I want to participate because I see the issues that are on the ballot and I care about those issues. You know,
Definitely.
like building a new school in our neighborhood is a really big issue. I want to participate in voting on that because I think we need a new school.
Of
So
course.
I'm going to support the tax increase, that kind of thing. You know, so I think that there are, you know, the pundits, where the pundits can really help the Black community is, you know, these bullshit ass, you know, get out the vote campaigns that you see on national television. It's nonsense. It's literally a trickle down economic situation where the Democratic Party and these corporations have paid money to hire certain people, the Angela Rye's of the world, to go out and get Black people to do what they're supposed to do and keep the Democrats in power. They really are political operatives in that regard, and not authentic in terms of what they're doing. Where the pundits could really be helpful, though, and this is where I look at the people like maybe people I believe in, who really believe in certain causes. I can agree with, like the Sean Kings of the world,
Mm-hmm.
who are willing to upset the apple cart in order to tell the truth.
Yes.
They can actually help Black people understand like how we can get in where we fit in when it comes to a political strategy that doesn't involve us caping for one of the two major superpowers, you know, because that's gonna cause you problems. It's gonna cause you to sell your soul. It's almost like when I analyzed the Vietnam War, and I found that the problem for a lot of third world countries is because was that they felt like they had to make a choice between either being part of Russia, or, you know, getting behind the Soviet Union, or getting behind the United States.
Right.
Because in the Cold War, those were superpowers, and it was like, okay, these are the Crips and the Bloods. You better be a Crip or you better be a Blood. Right. And the country of Vietnam suffered hundreds of thousands of deaths because they were gang affiliated, so to speak. They got themselves involved in a bigger conflict because they became pawns of a bigger conflict because they didn't have leadership that was capable of helping them to find their own independent lane. So same thing's true with Black people. We get caught up in the crossfire between the liberals and the conservatives, the Democrats and Republicans, and we get used as pawns in that battle. Whereas I think we need our own lane. Our lane, to me, could be one. First of all, the lane should be you choosing to do what you feel is best for your family, right? You know, I think that there are options to be independent. You can vote for an independent party. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we all know.
How effective is that, though? You know what I mean? Like when we vote in those independent places, we know that the majority is going either right or left. So you know what I mean?
Right. That's an excellent point. And I would almost say that it is as effective as, you know, another question that one might ask related to that is, how effective was it to be an abolitionist in 1782? How effective was it? I mean, slavery wasn't going to end for a very long time, you know, or better yet, 1682. Let's really go back. You know, there's nothing anywhere in sight that even makes you think that slavery might come to an end. Too many people are making money off of it, you know, whatever, right? So you might as well just go ahead and just go along with the flow. But there were people who had a dream for something better.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that America's headed to hell in a handbasket. We know that this political divide between the two major superpowers, this Crips blood kind of warfare thing, is destroying our country. We have more debt than we can ever pay. Our educational system sucks. Our healthcare system sucks. we are on the Titanic. We are literally on the Titanic right now. And the only people that are going to survive are the people who find their own lane, who build a life raft, right? Where they say, look, we're going to detach from all of this shit and we're going to go start building something so that my family can be safe when all this falls apart. So I would almost say that, people should make their own decision, that there's nothing wrong with being independent. We know that having a third political party is good for the country. It's not good short term. Short term, you're going to feel like you're losing, but we know long term, there's no other way. There's no other solution. Like, having two political parties is killing us, right? And then I think, last but not least, I'm more of a believer in what Dr. Claude Anderson might say. Dr. Claude Anderson says, and again, he's a political expert. He was in politics. He was education secretary or something like that for the state of Florida. So he knows politics really well and understands how it works, the quid pro quo, how the money drives everything. And what he's basically said is that, what you do politically should not be the most important thing in your mind as a Black person. He's pretty much said, well, you can be a Democrat or Republican, just make sure you're Black first. So that means that you and I, Tierra, we're both Black. We both woke up with the same Black skin we had yesterday, right? I hope. Nobody's got vitiligo or nothing. And so if you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, it shouldn't get to the point where I say, well, I'm not talking to you anymore because you're a Trump supporter or because you're a Republican. It should say, oh, girl, it should be more like, oh, girl, what you doing supporting those Republicans? You know that's crazy. And then we get together and we talk about how we can build together as Black people, right? Being Black should trump, no pun intended, that should trump everything else about what you're doing politically.
I agree.
But what you're seeing is that because we're caught in the crossfire, you're seeing Black people, Black on Black emotional crime occurring because we are so caught up in the gang warfare. And again, I compare it to anybody who wants to understand what I'm saying, go study how the Vietnam War went down, where you had North Vietnamese murdering South Vietnamese because one side was affiliated with Russia, the other side was affiliated with the United States. And at the end of the day, both sides got fucked. Right. Both sides got abandoned and left to die. We abandoned the Saigon. We literally, I kid you not, I know this, I'm going off on a tangent. I hope y'all can bear with me on this. I swear to God, it was so fascinating here. We had promised the Vietnamese people in Saigon, we were like, we got your back. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you truth. We're going to give you supplies. We got you. You're safe. So they were like, well, are you sure we're going to be safe? Because we're selling out our people by riding with you. And we're like, we got you, man. Don't even trip. Don't even worry about it. And you know what happened? When the shit hit the fan, we said, fuck y'all, sorry. We wanted to stick around, but we can't. And they got their ass kicked. Saigon got taken, lots of people died. All the people who were affiliated with the US, people were like, okay, we're coming for your head. We're gonna take you out now. And so the point of that is to say that when you catch yourself in a position that Black people are in, where you allow yourself to be used as a pawn for a broader struggle, you're setting yourself up to get fucked. Right. Okay. Tierra KJ Williams, that's who I'm talking to, aka Miss Black Hollywood. We're talking about Kanye West suddenly changing his whole tune on his political involvement and the Republicans and Donald Trump. And it looks like it's all over money. Do you agree? Do you think? I'm thinking that the whole situation with Kanye, in terms of him being upset, it looks like it's all about the money and the merch. It almost makes me wonder if they had not released the merch thing, if Candis had not used his name, that he wouldn't be tweeting about anything. Do you think that, like, how much of this do you think is about Kanye promoting himself or Kanye making money, selling records or whatever? Like, do you think he was doing this because this was what he believed in? Or do you think he was doing it because he's got an album out and he's trying to make money, on his next album?
I think it's genuine. The thing is, I think it's coming from a good place. Like Kanye, like you said earlier, I think it's coming from a good place. I think he genuinely wants better for the community, because there's a part of him that was that way when he first came into the industry. That's what he rapped about. That's who he was. He exuded, Black power and all of the things. Right. Fast forward to life. Life happened, and he kind of fell off his rocker. He lost his mother. He married a Kardashian. I think he's he's living in Twilight Zone, like, so there's these things that happen that has kind of morphed. It's changed who he is completely. So I think that if we're talking about percentages, because of who he's married to, I would say a lot of it is about attention, because he's living in a house with a woman who needs attention, with a family that thrives off having attention, like at all costs. It doesn't matter. And the reason why I say that is because we have these moments where I feel like it's genuine, and then Kanye will do something like, he'll say something, and then he came out with that apology, and he was like, I'm sorry if you thought that I was being, I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt by what I said, but basically, like, I said what I said, but here's an apology anyway. And then he went back and blamed it on Drake, and blamed his outbursts on Chicago not playing his music. I mean, there was all kinds of things. So I feel like he's dying for some type of internal, like, he needs some attention, and he's not getting that. So I cannot forget that. So I have to say, like, 75% of it is like he wants attention because he's a Kardashian, right? And then the other part is like him genuinely wanting to help the Black community, because he kind of abandoned us a while ago, a little bit. So it can't be about us. I don't know what this new, like, let's help the Black people thing is. I'm not really sure what that is, but he abandoned us a while ago. It was just about the music, and then he didn't want Black models in his show. Like, the writing has been on the wall, boys. So in my opinion, it's 75-25.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to look at it. It's almost like, he's complex, and you can't sort of say it's all about, business, or you can't say it's all about politics, because you see a little bit of everything, like, I think, like when he went and he was speaking in the White House, you heard the rant kind of go in all these different directions, and almost like a stream of consciousness that was taking us from, LA to New York and back. And and I almost feel like that speech, I think that I almost would have encouraged him. What Kanye really needs is, he needs a smart advisor to sit next to him and to talk to him about the arenas that he's going into, so he can be socially responsible, in that process. He can't just assume, oh, well, I'm Kanye, I'm a genius, I can just wing it, I'm going to be great. You can't do that, right? So really, maybe you need a Boyce Watkins-like person that I guess I'm just saying, I'm throwing me out there, I guess, not because I want to do it, but because if I were sitting with him, I'd probably say, okay, let's plan what we're going to say. Look, we know the reality. You got an album coming out. This is people, everybody's going to be watching. We'll do a drop. We'll drop the album. But then let's talk about the fact that we've got these different types of people that will be observing your behavior, different constituents, if you will, that that are either your fans or are trying to understand what's going on. Let's make sure it's clear for them. You're sitting with Trump. Let's make it clear that that you're the one in control of this interaction, not him. He's going to carry your water. You're not going to carry his water, right? And that was the mistake that was made during the Obama presidency, is that many of the Black people who sat with Obama were carrying the water for the Obama administration. The orders were coming top down. And I remember having a conversation with one of Obama's people, because they called me a few times because I was a media influencer, and they wanted to kind of, I guess, win me over. But I think quickly they pretty much gave up on that, because I thought that the conversation was going to be one where they were looking for suggestions on ways to maximize the impact of the Obama presidency. But instead, it was like, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. And we want to convince you that this is a good idea, so you can convince Black people to go along with it.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't turn off my brain. I can't lower my IQ. And my IQ is telling me that what you're saying is bullshit. That this does not benefit Black people. I'm not going to tell a lie. So I think that if you make it clear that in that negotiation between him and Trump, that it's a two-way dialogue, that it's like, okay, Trump's going to get a little something, something. Trump makes business deals. Of course, he's going to get something out of the deal. That's how you make a good deal. You don't make deals that are one-sided, right? So he's going to get a little something, something, maybe some Black support, maybe some street cred, maybe he'll get back his Black friends who hate him now. But the Black community is going to get more out of that deal. It's almost like when Trump's negotiating with China, that's the same situation. The Chinese are going to get something, but we got to make sure we're getting something too. That's how negotiation is supposed to occur. I don't think Kanye communicated that. I think Kanye sounded like a little brilliant in his analysis, but then he sounded a little crazy and a little distracted and unfocused. And I don't think he understood the gravity of that opportunity to really do something that could change the world in a better way.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I felt like he wasn't focused. And it's the same thing that happened at TMZ, or anytime someone gives him the mic, it's like he can't really reel it in. So with that being said, him being in the White House and having this opportunity and him being all over the place, and at some point he whipped out his phone and was like, I want to show you my shoe line. I was like, he can't. Okay, so I feel like we can't be respected in that way. Like, they can't take him completely serious if he can't communicate in the way that he should be able to.
Yeah, didn't Kanye show Trump some sort of model of a new version of or something
Yes, he was in there showing him his 350s. I was like, what is wrong with you? Focus.
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
Right.
Focus. Yeah, he was like, actually, what you think of these new shoes? Because I think after a while, that's the whole daddy thing came up. Like, he was, I don't know. He felt like, and that's the thing. Like, anytime a man, and I'm going to say Trump, walks away and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of like a father figure to him. That lets me know that he didn't respect what just happened. So there couldn't be any change because he don't respect you. It's hard to get Trump to respect anybody, but you come in there, you ranting, you all over the place, and then you trying to show him your shoe line.
Yep.
You missed the point. So, I'm right there with you. I just don't think they respect us enough. Again, I'm going to go back to it and say he just didn't have the emotional, he doesn't have the EQ for it. He's not there. He shouldn't have been the one. I wish it would have been you, boys.
Well, let's be clear. Well, it won't be me. I don't think they want to sit down with people like me, and I don't expect it. I don't even know if I can stomach sitting down with them. But I mean, you think about that point about the father figure is really deep in the sense that you just, as a powerful Black man negotiating on behalf of the entire Black community, 40 million people, walked into the office of a man who's been accused of being a white supremacist and said, this man is my white daddy.
Yes, that's what he said. He said a father figure.
Yeah, like what the fuck? You don't do that. You save that shit for when you get home and you're emotionally vulnerable, sitting with your wife or something. You don't say that in the middle of a political negotiation that has global implications.
You don't say that. Like that. I saw like back in the I saw my ancestors. I just saw, oh Jesus. I just didn't think it was the space. I didn't think it was the time. I felt like it made us look weak again. It's just that, like, just having a really strong, what I would have loved is just having this strong model or person in the room that can hold their own against Trump, be firm in what they want, and then just communicate in a way that's effective and that they all can take seriously and say, absolutely, we need to do this for the Black community. But we had Kanye in there showing shoes and talking about this man is my daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway.
The moral of the story is that when you send people in for important negotiations, make sure they don't have daddy issues, and that they don't try to resolve them during the conversation. I agree. I think it was crazy, and I'd be curious to see what else Kanye has to say. I know we both from Chicago, so maybe there's a chance Kanye will get wind of what we said, what we're talking about here, and maybe take it seriously. I know that he and Kim went to go speak with Minister Farrakhan. Mm-hmm. And so that I mean, all this is pieces of evidence to tell you kind of where his head is at. So I don't think he's totally lost. I think that what he did for the sister in Chicago shows that he cares about the part of Chicago that nobody else cares about. I think that there's potential there. And so I almost am hoping that there's more to it. Like, I'm hoping that like Kanye will come back and kind of like sort of reframe things and then say, okay, I'm still in the political game to a point, but now I've learned that in order to not be a pawn, I've got to have advisors around me who are going to help me to use my power in a way that, you know, is a little more responsible, where I can still sell a shoe, still sell a record, whatever it is you're trying to do, go do that, go make your money, you know. But at the same time, you got to be strategic and intelligent in these discussions, and I don't think that was really shown as much as it could be. Because remember, he's still the same guy. I want to believe that deep down, he's still the same guy who was raised by Dr. Donda West, right? Yeah. Still the same guy that cares about people on the south side of Chicago, you know, that's been abandoned, left for dead. You know, he's still the same guy who had the guts many years ago to say George Bush does not care about Black people. Yeah. You know, and I don't believe that person's dead. I just think that he might right now be a little distracted, a little confused. And I think somebody needs to kind of help him rein in on that. So he probably needs to sit with that with a good therapist or two and kind of work through that. So I want to say thank you, Miss Black Hollywood.
Thank you.
Tiara KJ Williams. I appreciate you joining me on this conversation.
For sure. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Where can people follow you on Instagram?
I'm at Miss Black Hollywood on all social media. Tiara KJ Williams, and then there's always a Miss Black Hollywood. All of it is attached. So MSBLACK Hollywood.
Okay. All right. So Miss Black Hollywood on Instagram. That's MS Black Hollywood. And everybody who's here, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com. That's where we go live. drboycetv.com. If you're on YouTube, please take 1 second, hit that thumbs up button, hit that share button, subscribe button, all the buttons. Also, if you want to connect with us via text the word Boyce to 31996. Somebody type that in, please, 31996. Text my name, Boyce, to that number, and I'll send you text alerts every now and then. Last but not least, we have an organization, the League of Intelligent Black People, where we are making intelligence cool and sexy again.
Yes.
Anyway, if you want to be a part of the League of Intelligent Black People, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We ask you to support the channel, but you know, it's not very much money. It's like less than the cost of a Happy Meal. But in exchange, you get lots of free stuff, lots of free access, lots of just lots of stuff. We just give away tons of stuff. So the URL is intelligentblackpeople.com. And I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you again, Tiara. It was real.
It was real. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hey.